Hey everyone, this is Oren, a sophomore critic, OKO1H0WP on Twitter, and this is take 11 of my review of spring shows. So let's hope I don't mess up and have to take it to a take 12. These are 5 of the main shows that I've been watching week to week so far this spring. I'm going to start with Call Your Mother. It is a show on ABC. It's a very old school multi-camera sitcom, and it stars Kira Sedgwick as a empty nester who moves from Iowa to Los Angeles, initially just to visit her kids, but she gets a job there. She has some flirtatious relationship with her landlord, played by the Australian Patrick Bromhall, and her 2 kids are the cast, as well as her daughter's gay roommate and her son's longtime girlfriend. This show is passable as a sort of comfort food. There's nothing particularly challenging about it, but the very sweetness and the spunkiness of Kira Sedgwick's character is really the best thing about it. She reminds me of Mary Tyler Moore if Mary Tyler Moore settled down, had some kids, and then 20 plus years later she was on the other side of the equation where she had to figure out how to define herself in a world where people are married and, reproducing. I was originally going to criticize the character of the son's girlfriend, who is a millennial caricature. She is an influencer for a living, and every attempt at a funny line they write for her is simply utterly predictable. But I think that pretty much every character except for Jean is predictable. And the show is somewhat limited in terms of how far they're going to push the envelope. It seems by design that the show is comfort food. I still kind of recommend it on the strength of Kira Sedgwick. I'm not sure if we'll ever see it grow, but it's hard to say. I think if the landlord and the single mom ever get together, that might move the show forward. Call Me Kat on Fox is a show that is a spiritual successor, in my mind, to New Girl, in that it celebrates the quirkiness of a single girl. In this case, this particular single girl, played by Miali Bialik from The Big Bang Theory, is a lot dorkier and at times socially invasive, and that can be a slight turnoff, but for the most part, she is a benevolent person who simply just embraces and owns the fact that she's single, that she is the ultimate cat lady because she has lots of cats and owns a cafe for people who want to bring their cats in, despite the fact that that's not a very good idea for sanitary reasons. It's just what the show is, so we have to go with it. The character is also quirky for the sense of being quirky. It doesn't feel as organic. I feel like they're trying too hard with this gimmick. At the same time, there are some sweet moments. I like a few of the cast members, particularly Susie Kurtz as the mom. And I think it's absolutely adorable that they break the fourth wall at the end of every episode and sort of dance and wave. It's hard to see how long the show will go as well. They also have a sort of a love interest, which they're somewhat inconsistent on because they paint him as a guy who's her best friend, and he friend-zoned her because he doesn't want to take things to the next level because she's his best friend, except for the fact that she's also saying that they haven't reconnected since college 10 years ago, and that she has a crush on him, and he was never a good enough friend to not notice that she had a crush. I'm not sure. Let's also talk about Mr. Mayor. This is a Tina Fey, Robert Carlock collaboration, their 4th, following Great News, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, and the game-changing 30 Rock. And it is set in Los Angeles, which is a change for this team. It has many elements in common, particularly with 30 Rock, where there is a kind of a strong man's man in the form of Ted Danson, who is the mayor of Los Angeles, and he has a female foil. In this case, it's the form of Holly Hunter. And what's really nice about this relationship is that one is she challenges him in the way that Alec Baldwin challenged the main character, but also that it's a purely platonic relationship. We never envision the two getting together, and we never really root for it. There's no will they or won't they sort of suspense, which can get irritating if it's in every single comedy on TV. Many shows, they have, like even 30 Rock, they sort of break down every single position in City Hall as, just like 3 or 4 people run City Hall, which kind of strains things a lot. Hopefully they can do some more world building, like they probably did just a little bit more with a little bit of the writer's room in 30 Rock, where you got to know some of the people who aren't in the lead credits. The show has had some very clever moments. The music is a little annoying after hearing the same kind of bouncy flourishes that have permeated 30 Rock and Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, but that's simply because the music director is Jeff Richmond, who is married to Tina Fey, so she probably does not want to put him out of a job. The show, after seeing the maturation from 30 Rock to Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, the show is a little disappointing because it's nothing but a skin-deep comedy. The jokes are there, it hits, but there's nothing which they can latch on that could take it deeper in terms of character growth in the way that Kimmy Schmidt kind of really had a lot of baggage and grew, as well as and the 3 other stars in that show, all 3 of them grew and found themselves, and there was a narrative arc there that I don't see the potential for Mr. Mayor having. The Great North is a cartoon on Hulu that has a deal of on-screen talent, or off-screen talking to a microphone talent, if you will. Jenny Slate, Will Forte, and Nick Offerman. It's about a family in Alaska. It's basically any kind of cartoon in this post-Simpsons, post-American Dad / Family Guy revolution, where there's just a lot of limitless potential in any animated show. And there's room for characters to be drawn in funny ways and for visual gags that they're using adequately well, but I don't think they're selling the potential of the setting as well as they could. I mean, obviously, people in Alaska are going to be weird and isolated. They could do it, because I've only seen 2 episodes, so, I mean, the show could grow on you. I'm not ruling that out. One problem I personally have is kind of the Nick Offerman character, but that's subjective to me because I'm not a Nick Offerman fan. I think on Parks and Recreation, and you're going to hate me for this, I think he is the only character that I just didn't latch on to. An actor like Nick Offerman, similar to, Jake Johnson or Rainn Wilson or even Steve Martin or Kevin Hart, has a comic persona, a general personality underneath the character that they bring to each film. And his is sort of a manly man. And I think in Parks and Recreation, as other projects, I just simply see an image of masculinity, not a critical image of masculinity. Like, for example, Will Ferrell in Anchorman shows a manly man, but also pokes fun at that facade. I'm just not seeing anything that interesting or, satirical in Nick Offerman's portrayals. I think it's a little bit early to say whether the show will be good or bad. I'm probably leaning on not continuing on it. I have also been watching my fair share of WandaVision, which I think is absolutely brilliant. You're probably going to see a lot of WandaVision on here. This show is on the Disney Channel. What's interesting for me is that I come to this without having seen a single Avengers movie or having seen Elizabeth Olsen in the Marvel Universe. But even then, I am pretty much with everyone in terms of the sort of puzzle-solving process. It is absolutely true that after the first video, I was very confused, after the first episode, if you will, and had to go on to YouTube, kind of like all the Easter eggs and explanations behind this episode. But once that happened, I had a tremendous amount of fun deciphering this show. It's as if the Da Vinci Code or the great the best escape rooms, across the country or the world got together to write a TV show, because it's very interactive in the way that you have to view the show and look for deeper meanings, which I think a lot of us try to do with television and movies anyway, but this show sort of puts it at the very front and lets us know we're playing a game with this content. I absolutely love, the sort of metatextual references to sitcoms and how it all works out in a very clever way, and how it's about 4 episodes in, they let us in, so I'm enjoying it very much every week. I've also really been enjoying Bless the Hearts, which is going to be returning this weekend, and that is on Fox. Bless the Hearts is by Emily Spivey, a former Saturday Night Live writer, who comes from North Carolina, and she, portrays a North Carolina family of 4, a mother, a woman in her 30s, a waitress, and her 40s, and her 12-year-old goth daughter, as well as her longtime boyfriend. And all 4 of these characters in the small North Carolina town are extremely well developed. The mother is trying to cash in fraudulent schemes and one-up her rival, played by Mary Steenburgen, and the daughter is, again, this sort of like deadpanning goth kid who secretly cares, but, she tries to hide it. And the boyfriend is sort of a Ty Burrell on Modern Family kind of character who has, many traits, has many loves of, community theater and hardware and whatever, caroling or whatever he does, and he's always just throwing himself into his projects. And but Jenny, at the heart of it, the lead character voiced by Kristen Wiig, is at the heart of it, where she's trying to be upwardly mobile, like many, I guess, lower class people in that part of the country are, and in small bursts, and in a way she's a little bit like a small town Lucille Ball, where she's, trying to move her way up. She's not her mother is a bit of a doppelganger, and that her mother is constantly doing big get rich schemes, and that's a really nice contrast in this TV show. The show is very endearing. It's very well sketched out, and it has expanded its world in the second season significantly to include a lot of side characters, like a show like The Simpsons or Futurama does. And I highly recommend it for, again, its regional flavor. It's written by someone from North Carolina who's poking fun at her roots. I think it's a great show. I'm also looking forward to Miracle Workers, coming soon on TBS, its 3rd season. Have a great day. Thank you.